Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and a salutation to the men out there doing the work in all truth and sincerity, the men, women, and children who died in the truth or gave their lives for the truth. The dead in Yahweh Shai shall rise first. This is Brother Partham, affiliate of the GMS Atlanta camp, and I'm back at it with another video. So, just some backstory. What you're looking at right here is a fat lighter, well, a tree with fat lighter in it. Fat lighter is pretty much is usually found in dead or dying trees. It's when the tree sap turns into resin naturally as it dies. So it's usually best to find it on dead trees that have fallen over, roots uprooted and things like that. The root wall is up and things like that. So the reason I'm showing you guys this is just for a little personal testimony of mine. I was splitting wood. I've been splitting wood for like the past few days, and it just got me thinking on how bad the Lord is, because fat lighter, what it's used for, is for starting fires. Okay? It's literally for starting fires. It is very easy to light, and it'll hold a flame very well. You can use it as a natural torch. You don't have to wrap it around anything or anything like that. Although I recommend doing that, especially with the times that we're coming into, but it'll hold a flame on its own. Very easy to start a fire with it. And it's natural. Doesn't even give off a lot of smoke. So it got me thinking on how the way that the world that the Lord set up works, It's ingenious. It's absolutely ingenious, because when you think about it, man, it's on dead or decaying trees. What it is the sap turning into a resin that coats the inside of the tree. Okay, but as it dies, and one thing about wildfires, not man-made wildfires, because there are man-made wildfires to clear places out, but natural wildfires, they usually happen when lightning strikes a particularly dry piece of ground, and it starts a wildfire. It sets the place on fire. Now, wildfires are good things. They are good things. Okay, it gets rid of decaying matter. It also provides nutrients in the form of that charcoal, that ash that is left behind after the fire is concluded. All right. So it's a very natural thing. It's a very good thing. There are certain species of plants that only grow after a fire. Morel mushrooms is one of them. Morel mushrooms is one of the more flavorful mushrooms. I've never had it. I've never tasted it or anything like that. But from what I've seen, those are they're like the only mushroom that tastes that way. And I'm not sure how to describe it, but they only grow after a fire happens, so they're very rare. But so it started having me think about other examples of the Lord's work and how harmonious it is just with the earth itself, and how great he is to even think of something like that. Okay, so we have a dead tree fall down in the woods, a fire happens. Let's say the fire doesn't really get started up, but as soon as it hits one of these fat lighter saturated dead trees or decaying trees, boom, it bursts into flame. And it's very hard to put that out, naturally, especially if there's no rain, So this really does help the wildfire to spread. Not only does it get those dry branches, dry twigs, dried leaves, the wind also helps push it, breathing more oxygen into it, creating even stronger and bigger wildfire, all for the purpose of getting rid of the decaying matter that's on the floor of the forest, And wildfires, sometimes they do consume live trees, but that's all in the will of the Lord. But most of the time, the living trees are fine because they're moist on the inside. The bark protects them and can't really burn through that. That's why you use dried logs to start a fire. You can't use a wet log; it's gonna put out your fire, quite literally. But it just started having me think about other examples of how, the Lord is marvelous with his, not only his planning but his work, and how things just mesh together. You know. So I have a couple of examples. All right. I already did that one. Um, let's do the self-sustaining fish tank. So this mimics an ecosystem. All right. So here's an example of one right here. So what you need are fish. You need filter feeders, and you also need a cleanup crew. It's the same thing with a terrarium, a self-sustaining terrarium. You know, a terrarium is one that has little to no water in there. You can have like a waterfall or a drip system for the animals that live in there, but it's mainly kind of like a forest biome or a rainforest biome that you put animals inside, and it sustains itself. But for this, you need like cleaner shrimp. You see an example of a cleaner shrimp right there at the bottom. Gonna zoom in so you guys can see it. These look like beta fish. You have plenty of plants to provide the oxygen, because even in the water, plants do provide oxygen, and fish do need oxygen to live. That's why kelp forests disappearing and things like that are so detrimental to the environment. But um, so really, all you would have to do is just add food into this place. You know, just fish food. The fish are going to poop. The cleaner fish are going to clean up that poop. The poop also enriches the tank, and the plants also clean the water as it takes in as it not only as it takes in light, but also as it takes in that nutrient rich water. Okay, so the fish and the shrimp have something to eat. The shrimp clean the tank. um, the plants purify the water, also adding oxygen. You don't really have to do anything other than add some food for the fish, and it can keep going on and on and on and on. The only problem with something like this is that it's all contained in this box, and the plants are eventually going to overflow and fill the box up. All right, so then you have to trim it and things like that, but that wouldn't happen in a natural ecosystem. You understand? All right. In the natural world, the overgrowth wouldn't happen because there would be plenty of space. Okay. Also, you can add. Also, there are other animals in that ecosystem, not just these examples. Things that eat those plants. So there you go. There's your I guess your head trimmers, as for lack of a better term. You know, there's just a small example of how the Lord works, man. Okay, and how great his mind is, and how different it is, man. You know, this is Psalms 40:5. Many, O Lord Yahweh, my power, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to us word. They cannot be reckoned up, or Salakia, reckoned up in order unto thee. And that's right. He created these things. They're so wonderful, but they don't match up to the Lord himself. He's the one that created it. He's the one that had these things in this natural order. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. And I only have a few examples. There are plenty more examples of this, man. There are plenty more. This entire earth that we live in, man, is a fantastical work, man. A lot of people try and downplay, oh yeah, we just on earth. We just on earth. No, no, man. The Lord guided down to where if we step outside, we create an electrical charge with our feet if we touch grass. Almost like Avatar, man. Everything is connected. It's insane. And I was thinking about it, so I was like, let me make a lesson on it. I got you. You know. Um. Here it is. Job 28:20. Whence then cometh wisdom, and where is the place of understanding? seeing it is hid from the eyes of all living, and kept close from the fowls of the air. Okay, and that's right. It's a it's a beautiful thing because he's given us a mind to understand these things and given us an appreciation for these things. You know, so you like not everybody sits there chopping wood thinking about, damn, how did the Lord, you know what I mean? How did this come to his mind? Like, you know what I mean? It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna jump down to 25. To make the weight for the winds and air has weight that was proven by Scripture. Now, this was thousands of years ago. Okay, this was thousands of years ago when the Lord told Job that, guess what? Air has weight. Air has weight. Okay, and it was only probably like around 300 or 400 years ago that scientists proved that it had weight, showing you how glorious his mind is, how advanced his mind is. You know, let's keep reading 26. When he made a decree for the rain and a way for the lightning of the thunder, and that's right. If you look at lightning when it strikes, it has a path. All right, it has a path, and they say that lightning never strikes twice in the same place, which is absolutely that's bonkers. You know, that is absolutely bonkers, man. You know, that is just wow. Just wow. I mean, what else can you say? Just wow. Okay. Um, I'll grab this in a minute. Let's go on to another example. You know, let me grab this first. All right, so I'm not going to play the volume because it's just a bunch of people speaking on what's going on here. But what you're looking at is a whale fall. Now, a whale fall it happens when a whale dies. You know, usually it floats on the surface due to the gases building up and things of that nature. You know, but once those gases are expelled, okay, it falls to the bottom of the ocean, and that creates an entire ecosystem for all of these animals that you see right here. You see octopus, you see eels. There are definitely some snakes in there too. You know, not snakes, snails, Salakia. Okay, but this and just imagine the amount of bacteria there that the algae that you see growing on the bones feed off of. Okay, and all the other microorganisms that are feeding on that algae. It creates an entire ecosystem, man, and it's very important to the ocean that this happens. See, now let's read a little bit. Whales are critically important to their ecosystems, alive and dead. The whale has sunk to the ocean floor, where it will provide nutrients to numerous species for decades. Okay, I'm going to jump down to the second paragraph. The skeletal remains of this relatively recent fall are of a whale estimated to be 4 to 5 meters long. They don't know the species, that's fine. This site exhibits an interesting mid stage of ecological succession, as both large scavengers like eel pouts and octopus are still stripping the skeleton of blubber, and bone eating oxidax worms are starting to dissolve the bones. Okay, now let's go into the stages of it. All right, so let's read. Mobile scavenger stage. This stage begins when the whale's carcass hits the ocean floor and lasts for a few months to 2 years. 2 years. That's crazy. Free swimming scavengers such as sharks, hagfish, rat tails, octopuses consume the whale's soft tissues and fat stores. So they basically they take all the flesh off of it, man. Okay? It's gonna last for 2 years, showing you how much it feeds them just off of its death alone. You know? This stage lasts for several months to 2 years. Small animals such as Salakia, enrichment opportunist stage. This stage lasts for several months to 2 years. After those first 2 years, small animals such as crustaceans, worms, and mollusks feed on the remaining organic material on the bones and in the blubber. So some of the blubber is still there even afterwards. Okay. Um, The sediment around the whale becomes enriched with nutrients, creating a place for organisms to burrow. Okay, and that's why you see that algae growing on those bones because of all the nutrients that was provided underneath the whale, man. So sulfophilic stage, I guess. I think so. If not, someone can correct me in the comments. This stage can last for decades. Bacteria break down the lipids in the whale's bones, releasing hydrogen sulfide. The sulfide feeds a community of chemoautotrophic bacteria, which can be free living or living inside other organisms. Whew. The sulfide also attracts other organisms such as mussels, snails, and worms. This stage is characterized by the highest diversity of species in the deep sea. So at the end of it, at the last stage of it, man, that's when you see the most biodiversity in it. But once again, it goes back into the mind of the Most High. Like, I'm going to create this gigantic, magnificent animal. And once it dies, it's going to keep on providing nutrients, man. I don't want to be corny, but it really is a circle of life, you know? It's insane. It is amazing. The whale fall process provides food for a deep sea ecosystem that would otherwise be mostly barren. So if it wasn't for these whale falls that can feed them for damn near 100 years here at the bottom, there would be no ecosystem down there. Insane, man. Scientists estimate that a whale's carcass can support a decomposer ecosystem for over 100 years, and decomposers are very important to the environment. If not, things would be toxic. Things would be very toxic, man. Okay? Like the ocean itself, you probably wouldn't even be able to swim in the ocean because of all the toxins that were in there if it wasn't for decomposers. You know? Worms, maggots, flies, things like that. Those are decomposers. You know? They eat decaying material. And also rancid material. Why do you think you see flies around like a pile of shit? Because that's what their job is. They clean up. They get into your house and it's annoying, but guess what? Your house is in their spot. They're just doing what they need to do. All right. Let's go back to the scripts. Psalm 77, and I said, "This is my infirmity, but I will remember the year of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord Yahweh. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work and talk of thy doings." And that's exactly what I'm doing now, man. That's what I'm doing now. I meditated on it and I'm talking of his works. Because and this is all coming from a piece of wood that is easy to light. This is all coming from a piece of wood that's very easy to light. Yeah, man, you gotta meditate on these things, man, because it's it's wild. It is wild, man. It is amazing. Isaiah 55:8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord Yahweh. That's why I'm meditating on it, man. Because I couldn't come up with that. I wouldn't know how to do. I wouldn't even know where to begin. You know, shit. I wouldn't even be able to figure out a self-sustaining um, fish tank like we saw earlier. I wouldn't even be able to know where to begin with that. But he already had it laid out, man. 9. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, Salakia, and make it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. That's bad. That's bad, man. And that's right. The rain comes down, shit, evaporation happens, especially in puddles, goes right back up. It's a cycle, man, the water cycle. We've all learned that in school, you know? He even put the water cycle in place, man. Like, good Lord, What can't he do? And the answer is nothing. Okay. Now, I wanted to grab this real quick. Um, I think we all know what salmon looks like. We could grab a picture of it real quick. All right, here we go. So yeah, salmon. Now, if you don't know about the life cycle of a salmon, once it's born, it lives until it's time for them to spawn. And spawn means fertilize the eggs that the females lay. Same with the females. They leave the freshwater, then they come back to the freshwater um, to just for the purpose of mating, and then they die pretty much where they were born. Now I was curious. I looked up if the salmon actually, all the dead salmon in that freshwater lake, if it actually contaminated the lake at all. And surprisingly, it didn't. They don't. They really don't. It's once again, it's one of those wonders, man. You know, and it's right here. Some salmon, like coho and chinook salmon, die as a part of their life cycles after spawning. After they die, other animals eat them or they decompose. Okay, I'm not sure if you've ever seen a bear catching salmon. That's another thing when they spawn, and that's a way of keeping their population down because I think they lay around 1,500 to 2,000 eggs at a time, and only around 15% of them will reach maturity. Whether it be a bear snack or other animals that fish like birds and eagles and things of that sort. You know, but that's a population cap right there, man. It keeps the population down so that they don't grow too much in number. Okay, because what happens if you have too many fish in one place is their waste. Okay, their waste. Um, it creates too much bacteria in the water and it starts killing off the plants. Okay. And another interesting fact about this, about their spawning, once they get to the freshwater, they stop eating so they don't produce any more waste. So that's one of the reasons why it doesn't contaminate the water where it's at. Ingenious, once again, ingenious again. And they just die there. But they provide nutrients not only to the water, not only to the plants, but also to the other animals that's living in there. I'm pretty sure there are some freshwater crab in there, snails and things like that that'll eat it. And snails do eat meat. They don't really give a damn. It's crazy. If you were to hold a snail on your finger, it tickles because it's trying to eat your finger. They're evil motherfuckers. But yeah, I remember I left out some sardines for a cat one time, and the cat didn't eat them. He didn't end up eating them, but I went out there and I saw a bunch of slugs and snails eating the skin of the sardines. Incredible, you know. But yeah, let's keep reading. After they die, other animals eat them or they decompose, which adds nutrients to the stream. Okay, and on top of that, a stream itself oxygenates the water too because it's mixing with the air, constantly hitting the rocks and things like that. Like, the Most High is bad as fuck, and that's exactly what I'm gonna name this video, man. The Most High is bad as fuck. He's like, come on, man, come on now, man. This is amazing. That is amazing. Just even explaining it is amazing. It's like we read earlier. His works are without number, man. This is just a few examples, very few. You know. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna press pause. All right, so lucky about that. Well, it's been 24 minutes. I wasn't expecting it to be that long, but that's fine. It's fine with me. It's bad, man. Thinking of these things, meditating on these things. Proverbs 30 and 4, and this is going to be the last one. Who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who gathered the winds? Who hath gathered the wind in his fist? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? And that's right. Imagine that the world's a globe. It's filled to the brim with water. It's filled with water. And it just don't foul out. It, you bound the waters in a garment, man. You know? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? What is his son's name? If thou canst tell. Mm. Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. Okay? That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Gather the wind in his fist. You shall come with tempest. Mm. That's bad, man. So hopefully you guys found this video interesting and it was edifying to you. And that I want to give all glory, honor, praise, and fears to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakhakodash. And Shalom Akim.